How about the best bowl?
Team Sprinkles, dude.
Of all time?
Natty. The People's
Team
Natty.
Frosted.
Stop it.
It's a Pop-Tarts Bowl. It's Georgia Tech and BYU, 3:30 Eastern today on ABC from Orlando. You see what ESPN Analytics has to say. They like the Cougars. Quite frankly, who doesn't? But we all like Pop-Tarts.
Correct.
And we all like the
Brown
Pop-Tarts
sugar
Bowl. Again, 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
Capital One Bowl Mania Preview is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Would you ask for more wild stuff? And an incredible catch. Ridiculous. What a showcase event it'll be.
The college football playoff quarterfinals begin New Year's Eve and continue New Year's Day.
Let's talk about those quarterfinals in the college football playoff that do start New Year's Eve. Miami, Ohio State, they're in the Cotton Bowl. The 5th time the bowl has been featured in the playoff. 3 of the previous 4 winners have gone on to win the national championship, including the Buckeyes last season. The action continuing New Year's Day with Oregon, Texas Tech at the Orange Bowl. The Ducks 3-0 all time against the Red Raiders. Their last meeting, 2023. A lot has changed in Lubbock since then. For the first time ever, Bama takes on Indiana at the Rose Bowl. This is the Hoosiers' first week as the #1 ranked team in the country, where they will be rolling out the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. And finally, Ole Miss gets Georgia in a regular season rematch at the Sugar Bowl. It has been over 100 years since the Rebels lost to the same opponent twice in the same season.
Speaking of twice, for the second time this morning, we get Sam Acho back with us on SportsCenter talking college football. There are 3 playoff games, Sam, with touchdown or longer spreads. So let's go through each one. You give us a reason for an upset, a possible upset. Let's start with Ohio State and Miami. How did the Canes pull off that upset, Sam?
It's got to be the defense for Miami. Their last matchup, they forced 3 turnovers versus A&M. They won that turnover battle 3-1. They only held A&M to 3 total points. A&M was able to drive the ball, but there were critical turnovers at critical times. A couple that were in the red zone, one to seal the game. And so Miami's path to victory has to rely on Ruben Bain, one of their edge rushers, Akeem Mesidor, another edge rushers, and hopefully the youth of Julian Sand. Julian Sand's a first-year starter at quarterback for Ohio State, and so hopefully that youth will play into the advantage of Miami if they want to win.
Julian Sand, Heisman finalist, your Heisman winner, quarterbacks for the Indiana Hoosiers. What could potentially be their undoing versus Alabama?
It might be the rust from Indiana. Remember, Indiana was a top 4 seed, the #1 seed. That means they had a bye week. They haven't played in nearly 1 month, almost 30 days. Remember last season what happened to all the teams that had first-round byes? They all lost in there early in the first time they played in the playoffs. So the undoing for Indiana may just be the fact that they had too much rest and really too much rust. Now, of course, Indiana has a great quarterback in Fernando Mendoza, great receivers in Surratt, and a really good running game, a top 12 run game. But that could be their undoing, the time off that Indiana had.
How does Ole Miss get it done against Georgia?
It's the culture that Pete Golding, new head coach, former defensive coordinator, taking over for Lane Kiffin, that he may bring. I got a chance to call their game last week when they played Tulane, and that defense is outstanding, one of the best defenses that you'll see. And it's led by Princewell Mamiela, one of their edge rushers who can get after the quarterback, and their head coach, who's now no longer in the booth calling defensive plays. He's now on the field instilling his culture, Pete Golding. I was on the radio call. I talked with Pete Golding. I talked with some of the players. They want get back. They feel like they should have beat Georgia in the first matchup. They feel like they gave that game away. So you have a confident bunch, a confident quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss, and a confident defense.
The Wolverines certainly want to get back to the college football playoff. First order of business, hiring a new head coach. They got theirs in Utah's Kyle Whittingham. It's a 5-year deal that averages $8 million per year, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel and Dan Wetzel. Whittingham, 177 and 88, Sacho, in 21 campaigns at Utah, led the Utes to a 13-0 season in 2008. That being said, what do you make of Whittingham's hire there in Ann Arbor?
I think it's a good hire. I wouldn't go as far as to say a great hire. The reason I say that is this. Utah was picked to really win the Big 12 this year. They had 2 losses to some better teams. Last year, without a quarterback, I get it, they had a losing record. Kyle Whittingham has been consistent. For the last 2 decades, he's helped Utah be an established program. But for Michigan, the standard is beating Ohio State. The standard is winning national championships, and that's what is going to have to be proved for this hire, in my opinion, to be a home run hire. Yes, he's a good opportunity based off the landscape, but I think there's a different standard for Michigan.
All right, that's who Michigan is getting. From a Whittingham standpoint, Sam Acho, how different is this job compared to the one that he's leaving now after a couple decades in Salt Lake City?
It's extremely different. I think the standards are extremely higher when you're at Michigan. Utah, for a lot of people's perspective, was a developmental program. They would lose games early on, allow their teams and the players to really develop into who they're supposed to be. Then they'd get strong as the season went along. In Michigan, you can't afford to lose early. You can't afford to let games slip away to teams and opponents that are lesser than you. And so I think there's a different type of standard for Michigan.
Back with you on SportsCenter, it is the call of the Falcon. Gary, a Falcon sounds like?
Kaka.
That's right. Atlanta corner A.J. Terrell named the Falcons' Walter Payton Man of the Year. And Terrell's been active in the community in his hometown for his hometown team since Atlanta drafted him, founding his own charity where the primary program is a leadership and academic coaching initiative. The man and the charity are certainly worthy of recognition, but the way Terrell found out might have stole the show.
Super important for me to just give back to my city, it's where I'm from, where I was raised, and it's just super important.
We have a little bit of a surprise for you if you want to turn around there as a guest.
Man? How you doing here, bro? I want to tell you, bro. If I tell you, I want to tell you how much I appreciate you. You're a real mentor, leader to me, fool, and I feel like no one deserves this more than you. And the work that you're doing on and off the field is being recognized. And I just want to tell you that you are the Atlanta Falcons Walter Payton Man of the Year club nominee. That's crazy.
Come on, man. That's an awesome moment.
Nah, he got me.
Great to have A.J. Terrell with us now. Yeah. What was that like for you?
That was surreal, you know, just seeing little bro. I was talking to him the day before, and seeing him surprise me that day was crazy. So that's a big deal. Him giving me that award, or you know, it was just super personal for me, and I'm super grateful for it.
You had no idea he was about to sneak up on you, huh?
Nah, no idea.
Man, that was a cool moment. I'm glad we were able
they got me.
to capture that. So you've had a pick six to secure a national championship. Feels like forever ago when you were with Clemson, your first-round NFL draft pick. How do you compare what you've accomplished on the field to winning your team's Walter Payton Man of the Year honor?
Man, it's just a lot of hard work on and off the field, you know, just day by day, just trying to find ways to get better, whether that be on the field and off the field. You know, just winning this award, just, you know, highlights everything that I do and stand for off the field. And it's just super important for me. So I just want to keep going, keep elevating. Never did it for an award. And just everything I do is just genuine from the heart, and just trying to build my legacy.
Well, the signature part of that, what put some shine on the program, is the foundation. It's the A.J. Terrell Jr. Academy that's already supported more than 600 student athletes across 2 high schools since its inception in 2023. 90% of participants able to maintain academic eligibility. Why is it so important to you to really help keep youth in sports?
No, that's what it's about. So I started that my academy 2 years ago, but just giving, you know, the kids an opportunity to experience more than just, you know, just whatever sport they're pursuing in high school, just giving them more assets and help, you know, just in high school at a high level where they have academic learning coaches that help them academically, financially, with family stability, any type of emergency help. That's what my academy do. So we just want to be able to be a helping hand for those kids and be able to just make sure they reach their full potential, you know, going into adulthood when they go to college.
AJ, we saw you in some of those pictures and some of those videos lining up against some of those participants. You take it easy on them, or do you put those NFL clamps on some of those receivers and some of those DBs and say, hey, this is what it's going to be like when you get to D1 and when you get to the league maybe one day? How much fun do you have working with the kids and interacting with them on a daily basis?
You know, it's always going to be 1 or 2 kids that try you at these camps.
always. Like, you're washed.
Always going to be 1 or 2 of them. But overall, man, I just try to, you know, just be a helping hand for them and, you know, be present. That's the main thing for me, just being present, letting them see, you know, and, you know, letting them be able to see that they can chase their dreams. And me just being a part of it is something that I love doing.
When you hear that the average child gives up sports by age 11, only spends about 3 years on average in sports, when you hear that stat, what goes through your mind?
Personally, right now, I'm thinking just the support. You know, sports isn't easy. It take a lot of support from whoever's, helping you in that field. Some of the kids don't have a lot of help pursuing it. They don't know, what it takes to stay down, continue to work, and know that it's a process. You gotta trust the process, and that's kind of how I look at it. And I think that with the support, like with my academy, just giving them a lot of confidence going in to sports, and on and off the field, how you handle yourself at home with your parents or whoever your guardian may be. Those are super important things that just help you become a better person.
Talk about support. Your father, a massive support system through your athletic journey. What are some of the things he taught you, maybe directly or indirectly, that you're trying to instill as part of your foundation?
Said my father, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yes, sir. Just running my own race.
Okay.
Knowing that it take a lot of hard work, getting up early, doing stuff when you're not expected. My dad, we did a lot of hands-on, one-on-one work, and I just wish we were recorded back then. Just how much work we put in, and could have probably had a little mini documentary for real. But I love my dad and all the support he had from me growing up, and I wouldn't be here without him for sure.
Speaking of parents, there are sports parents who are a little OD. Like, what do you say to these super high maintenance helicopter parents at my kids' sporting events? Yeah, how do you tell them that their kid isn't going pro? They just have to relax and enjoy this journey.
Nah, that's hard. You don't want to tell them that. You really, like, for the parents, you really just want to. I think parents got to understand that they can't want it more for their kids. So that's the important confidence, boundary that they have to build with their kids. Like, just getting them to understand that it's a process. You gotta work hard for what you want. And keep the main thing the main thing. Don't just do one sport, do other sports. You may learn a lot. Like mine was football, but I ran track, I did wrestling, I did karate, I did baseball, basketball, I did all of these things, but ended up playing football at the end of the day. But from each sport, you learn failure. Like I wasn't good at certain sports than I am in football, of course, but just learning that you can fail, but also have better high expectations and standards in another sport, and just being able to absorb failure and be able to go out there and play at a high level in the different sports and gain your confidence, is super important growing up.